In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this design and prototype in Figma. Let's go. Hey, I'm Parvin. I'm a digital product designer from London, and I teach people how to get better at using Figma. If you're new here, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. So the other day, I came across this sick website. It's the homepage for an agency called Oddcommon. And when you hover your mouse on these bits of text which have different typefaces, you get this highlight and this full screen video playing behind. I just thought this was super cool and I wanted to have a go at recreating it in Figma. Now this isn't what you're normally meant to do. So normally you would have a design and a prototype in Figma, which means you can iterate really quickly and then from there go on to building the finished product in code. But I just thought it sounded like a really fun challenge, and it's a great way to try out using videos in your prototypes, which is a new feature which just launched in Figma. So let's jump right into Figma and let's get going. So hitting F, we can create a new desktop frame, and we're just going to super quickly make a logo. So I'm just going to make 3 squares in a row. Maybe set them to 32. Holding down Option to drag. Have a gap of 8 in between. Set them all to black. Command Option K to make them into a component. And best practice is to leave the main component out of the canvas and use an instance in our design. Then over here on the other side, I'm just going to make some links. So we'll have about and contact. Set those both to 16 point size. And we'll wrap the whole thing in an auto layout frame. If we give them a margin of 40 on either side and set that to 0 and set that to the full width of the canvas and rename this frame to header, and then pressing enter to open it up here, I'm going to grab the 2 links, wrap those in an auto layout frame as well, give them a spacing of 20, and then for the main header, so just shift enter to go up a level in our layers panel. Here we're going to set the spacing mode to space between. So now we've got a very nice header. Move that component out of the way. You saw I put a gap of 40 on either side. What we'll do is we'll just add a quick layout grid. So set that to columns, 12 columns, tab over to margin and put that at 40. So now we can see our layout grid if we need. Just going to turn that off for the moment. Then we're going to put up the main text which we'll use for that hover animation. So pressing T to open the text tool. Here's where I struggle a bit. I have to come up with some waffle. So maybe Red Magic Design is a creative agency that fulfills your company's brand objectives. Or maybe a digital agency that will unleash the power of your Our team of passionate designers will help you stand out in a crowded market. Come visit us, our London office. I think that will do for now. Let's bump up the point size to something really big, maybe 64. Then just resize that text object so it all fits on the canvas. And what we can do is make it match up with those margins we set earlier. Actually, I just turned on the layout grids with Control G, and I'm going to bring those in so it's actually hitting 10 columns. We can notch that up. Maybe even tighter. No, I think we'll leave it there. And then I'm just going to add a black rectangle below, which we're not going to do anything with, but it just implies there's something a bit lower down on the page to scroll down to. Next up, we're going to look at typefaces. So what I quite like in the Oddcommon homepage is that they had different typefaces for the bits which were hoverable. And recently I found this really nice font on Figma called Montega or Montaga. So a nice funky serif. And what we'll do is the bits which we'll want to hover on will set back to enter. So I think Red Magic Design, power of your brand maybe, could be, we could have some cool effect there. Passionate designers, definitely, that's a nice one. We can get some nice stock footage or images of a group of designers. And then London, it'll work really nicely to find some B-roll of London. Just to make them stand out a bit more, I'm going to set them to bold or maybe semi-bold. So thinking about line wrapping, obviously we'd want to account for responsiveness, so shrinking the canvas would want everything to adjust correctly, which would mean our lines would probably wrap. Just for now, for the prototype, I'm going to set the font size to something where we don't have any font wrapping on those bits of hovered text, just to make it a bit easier for us to prototype. So with that there, I'm just going to move this black rectangle up and shift that down a bit to maybe be vertically centered. And lastly, I'm going to add on a background of what the text looks like when you highlight it. So hitting R to create a rectangle, I'm going to change the fill to maybe a nice Eve Kleiny blue, so maybe quite saturated and quite bright. I'll just put that behind the text. Very roughly line that up. Doing anything too specific here. And then lastly, just set that font to white. And then if we just jump over to Unsplash and search for agency, I'm going to choose an image, maybe something like this, which doesn't have people's faces in it, and back into Figma, pasting it, we'll see where the problem lies. So if I drag this onto our frame, we'll see what we need to do is split up the text. So all of the hover text is on a different layer to the rest of the text. So let's do that now. I'm going to do this in a very quick and dirty way. I'm just going to copy the text I need and paste it so it appears on top. And for the text which isn't at the start of the line, it's going to appear at the start of that text object. So I'm just going to move it and zoom in and put it in place so it lines up on top. We'll do that a couple more times. So Passionate Designs, line that up. And London office, check that's lined nicely. Now when I turn on my image and my highlight, and I put them in the right place and set the text to white, we can see what the effect looks like. So this is the effect we'll be going for, where hovering gives us this full screen background or video content. So now we've got our design set up, we're going to prototype it out. I've dragged in the videos which we're going to use as stock footage. These are just from some royalty-free video websites like Pexels, and I'm going to make a frame for each one. So we just need 4 frames, duplicated, and just to keep everything tidy, I'm going to name all my frames. So now all we need to do is drag the video onto each one and then layer it below just the bit of text which will be highlighted, and add back in highlight and set the text to white. So I'll do that super quickly for all 4 of these frames. So now you can see I've got this set up with all 4 frames. I've got the highlight and the text above the video layer. So now we just have to go into prototype mode and prototype these all out. Because each of these bits of text are its own object, it's super quick to do. We just have to drag out a noodle from that text, change it to while hovering, and we can leave it set to Smart Animate. Do that 3 more times. So quick demo of what that looks like. I'm opening up prototype mode. So here what we can see when we hover on any of those 4 sections, we get the video playing and the highlight appearing. And then when we move our mouse off, it goes back to the frame before. So the very last thing I want to add is when we load up the Odd Common website, we see that those 4 things appear before the rest of the text, which helps make it clear that those bits stand out and that maybe they can be interacted with. And this is really easy to do on Figma as well. So let's take a look. So I'm just going to duplicate my start frame a few more times, and I'm going to drag them to the left. So just holding Option and Shift to drag them in a straight line. This means that our horizontal order is chronological. So we'll start with a version where there's no text yet. And then next we'll have just the words Red Magic. Then next, just Power of Your Brand. After that, we'll have the next 2 appear together so that we're not having too many steps. And then we'll go into the final screen. And very quickly, all we're going to do is wire these up with after delays. So after delay of maybe 100 or maybe 300 milliseconds, and then it will take 300 milliseconds for the next one to ease in. So repeat that each time, And you can see we've now got 2 flow starting points, so we can just get rid of flow 1 and start it from here, rename that to start, and I'm just gonna select those 4 frames and rename them to pre-animation. So then hitting play, pressing R to reset the prototype, we'll see that the text appears exactly as we want it to. So one more time pressing R, we'll see that the text appears gradually, and then those bits can be hovered. So that's everything. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you check the description where I've included a link to this file so you can duplicate it and play around with it, see how it works yourself. And thank you again so much to Odd Common, really cool website, amazing inspiration, really fun to have a go at recreating it in Figma. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. It's been really fun to make this. Throughout this whole year, I'm going to be making lots of videos on YouTube. If you enjoy them or find them useful, it would really help me if you like them or leave a comment, which will help other people on YouTube find them. And if you want to help me out, help this channel grow, the best thing you can do is to share this video with a friend who you think might find it interesting. Thanks so much for watching. See you next week.